We are leaving our time now. We are going back in time to a time before this time, to Oklahoma in the 1970s, to a small town. Thousands of years ago, they had no books, they had movies, they had no movies, they had no TV. They told stories around a campfire, an oral tradition. We come in on a boy named Sean Marsee. He was an attractive young fella, loved having his hair neatly combed, hated when he got a pimple. One day he took his little sister skating on the ice, and the ice was thin. She fell through the ice, and he ran, and he got her a rope, and he threw that rope, and he hauled her to safety, and he saved her life. He discovered that day that he could run like the wind. Whenever you volunteer for a nonprofit or do something nice to someone else, you're going to get back 10 times what you gave without any idea that something nice could ever come of that. You never thought of any self-gain. He discovered he could run that day. Someone said you should join the track team. Joined the track team. Pretty soon he won a medal. Then he won another medal. Got his picture in the paper. Well, later on, he won another medal. He would win 27 medals in all in track competitions. And got another picture in the paper, and people in the town said, "That's Sean Marsee. Look at Sean Marsee." And pretty soon they were saying, "That's our Sean Marsee." One day, Sean comes home, and he has a bulge in his lip. And his mother was a registered nurse, and she looked at him, and she said, "What's that, son?" "Well, I've been dipping, Mama." "You've been dipping? Don't you know that those little white sores you get are precancerous lesions?" And I like to think that she did what I wish parents can do. Here is what parents can do. Every time your child does something responsible, praise them for it. Use the word responsible. "Honey, you cleaned up your room. You are such a responsible young lady." "Son, you got a B in school. You're such a responsible young man." And the child soaks it up like a sponge. "I am responsible." Because you're their parent, after all, you must be right. You put dinner on the table, you program your children to be responsible when you praise them for being responsible. Do not give it all to the oldest one, because the oldest one usually gets most of it. Next one down thinks, well, he must be the smart one, I'm the stupid one. And the little one, younger one, is the cutie pie. "I'm just a cutie pie." No. I was the young one. But to be a man, I learned that you had to give that up. And anyway, so your parent, you can, and then later, when the kids get older, you can say to them, "Honey, you know, rather than I'm so worried about you going with boys, I'm so worried about your smoking, I'm so worried about your drug use," you can say to them, "You know, I'm not worried, because I know how responsible you are." And the child buys it. And you don't have to worry about them. But a parent who shows worry sends a negative message that there's something to worry about. The kid thinks mom must be right, and that's what we can do. So I like to think she said, "You know, son, you've always been a responsible boy. You made up your room, you got decent grades in school, and I'm not going to worry about you. I'm sure you're going to quit this dip tobacco." And pretty soon he came home and he said to his mama, "Mama, I'm going to quit." She said, "I knew you would." Came home a few weeks later, "Mama, I tried to quit. I couldn't quit." "Well, try again, son. It's normal to fail a few times. You can do it. Try again." He tried again. He failed. He failed and failed and failed and failed, and he could not stop. Well, I'll tell the children, over here in life, you are a child. Over there, you're an adult making all your own decisions. Over here, mom and dad are pretty much making the decisions. And in the teen years, we start to cross this bridge. "Be home at 8 o'clock, son." "Okay, Mom, I'll be home at 8. "Be home at 8 o'clock, son." Mom, I'll see you at 9:30. "Be home at 8 o'clock, son." "See you Tuesday." And they laugh, too. The kids laugh at that because it's so... And in that bridge, we start saying no to our parents. We have to find a way to tear ourselves away and become independently functioning adults, spreading our wings. and fly in on our own. And we got to say no to mom. And whatever you do, don't start with cigarettes or with drugs, which will destroy your life, and we'll cover that. Wear baggy clothes. Dye a lock of your hair purple. But do not start with tobacco, drugs, or alcohol. Take some time to get the disease tobacco causes for most people. In alcohol, you can die in one night in a car wreck. How do you get a friend to slow down when they're driving fast? Don't tell them they're a bad driver. Slow down. That doesn't work. Talk from your heart. Be vulnerable. I'm frightened when you drive like that. Oh, you're frightened? Okay, I'll slow down. No problem. Talk from the heart, connect from the heart, and you're heard. Those of you who are speakers, communicators, talk from your passion and from your feelings, and you will connect and be understood and persuasive. Sean came home, went to the doctor. A few days later, he was lounging around the house. The doctor had run some tests, and he's kicking back like he always did on a Saturday. Maybe he did his homework, maybe not. And he heard the phone ring, and he heard his mother pick up the phone in her room like she always did. And pretty soon, he heard what he thought was a sob from his mother's door, and he opened the door. There she was, sitting on the bed, looking out the window with her back to him, crying. And he went up to her and he said, "Mama, what's wrong?" And she turned, and the tears were coming down her face, and she looked up and she said, "Son, you have cancer in your tongue. We've got to go to the doctor." They went to the doctor. The doctor said, "I'm sorry, boy." And the middle school kids will hear this message tomorrow. "But we are going to have to amputate." Cut out your tongue. Cut out my tongue. Cut out my tongue. Will I be able to talk again? "I don't think you're going to be able to talk like you are now, son." Anger. "Can I still run in the track meet on Friday?" "Yes, son. You can run in the track meet on Friday, but after that I'm going to need you in here." And he ran in the track meet on Friday, and I don't know if he won or he lost, but he did his best, which is what sport is. And after that he went in and they cut out his tongue. People from the town sent cookies and cakes. And he couldn't have any. He had a feeding tube going up his nose to put liquid food into his stomach. This is after the second operation. "Mama, I'll get better," he claimed. He was the man of the house. No father in the house. "I'm going to get better, you'll see," he wrote. Couldn't talk. Cancer came back. He had to go back, have part of his jaw removed, part of his nose removed, part of his neck removed. And his best friend came down from Chicago for what would be their last visit and said to him, after sitting in silence on Sean's bedside for a spell, got an idea, said, "What if we got a photographer?" And before he could say the word photographer, Sean made a noise, and he wrote, No, I don't want anybody to see me this way. I feel so ashamed. Just get out, leave me alone." But what if other kids could see what tobacco can do? Maybe they wouldn't start this dip tobacco. And he thought about it. Very reluctantly, he looked up. He never cried. He wrote, "Okay, bring the photographer." And he probably said, "But I don't want to be remembered as some kid who got cancer. Let's get the track medals I won and pin them on my chest, and they could see that I was Sean Marsee." And he let this picture be taken as a gift for each and every one of our kids. And I've shown it to easy 100,000 kids. His friend said, "Do you have some message for the young ones? What would it be?" And he thought about it long and hard and finally looked back, held back a tear, and he wrote, "Here's my message for the other teens. Don't dip, snuff." And he expressed a simple affirmation of his Christian faith. And not long after that, at the age of 19, surrounded by friends and family, the boy died. So take a look. We will remember you, Sean. We will learn from your tragic short life, and we will not make the same mistake of dip tobacco. I'm going to close my talk with you and with the children tomorrow I am just concerned that this big rise in smoking that we saw among our kids from 78, the year Joe Camel was introduced, from 88, the year the cartoon Camel came, until 98, we saw a 73% hike in teen smoking. Why? The CDC said it's the ad campaigns, Joe Camel, the Marlboro Man, smoking in movies. I'll do a big section of my talk tomorrow about smoking in movies and how the movie stars who smoke betray them. But I believe there was a third factor, which has not been researched, and it should be. My foundation would like to research it. How does kids' attitudes about the future affect their use of drugs and tobacco? And, you know, I came across some data in the early 90s that said that kids were not believing in the future. They had a keen sense of diminished expectations. Well, imagine after 9/11 how they feel now. So I will say to them tomorrow, yes, we live in a time of reports of global warming in the news and new diseases like SARS and bird flu and AIDS and swine flu. We have the threat of a terrorist attack at home and wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and the collapse of the stock market. And is there going to be a job there for me? And a tsunami in Japan and the breakdown of a nuclear reactor? Whoa, it's a scary time. And I want to reassure those children who are worried about the future that it is looking incredible. We will get through all those problems. We'll find cures for the diseases, ways to prevent them. We already have. We will have world peace one day. We will have a society free of tobacco and drugs. And we will get through every single problem together. And I walk them through 4 points, talk about it, won't do it now. Think positive, talk about it to another person, a trusted teacher, the school counselor, your friends, your parents, and reevaluate what real wealth is. You're R.J. Reynolds' grandson, you're rich. Well, I'm not rich in terms of money, but I am rich in terms of what's real wealth. Having a son at home, a wife who loves me, good friends. That's real wealth. And it's not just about money. As China and India industrialize, we cannot sustain the planet all consuming resources the way we do. So we will all maybe have to reevaluate what wealth is and redefine it in years to come. And I don't have the answers there, but I know that we'll get through those problems together. And on the other side of any problems that come to us, which we'll face and solve together, there are glorious times coming. I believe there is wondrous things coming in this world, and you will need your health. So don't smoke, and don't use drugs, and don't drink alcohol. Hold on to your health for those glorious, incredible times ahead of us all.